You're listening to the Loving Your Own Soul podcast, and I'm your host, Britt Olson. Guided by my own intuition, my intention is to deliver genuine conversations centered around health and wellness, spirituality, self-expression, and culture. In this space, I will provide you with real-life stories, theories, and inspiring perspectives to help you uncover and tap into your own true potential. I'm so grateful you've chosen to tune in with me on this mindful exploration to living a more fluid life through a deeper connection to the soul. Now let's dive into today's journey. Welcome to the Loving Your Own Soul Weekly Digest. If you're new around here, I'm Britt Olson, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Every Thursday, I will digest and decode a different health and wellness, spiritual, trending, or cultural topic so that you can better understand and feel more on trend in the ever-changing world we live in. This week, I will be giving you the download on the benefits behind a plant-based lifestyle. And as always, please do not forget that I am not a trained medical professional, and while I am certified through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I do not claim to be an expert in any of these areas necessarily. Always consult with your doctor before making any lifestyle or diet changes, and just remember that our Weekly Digest episodes really stem from theories, research from qualified field professionals, and my own findings and opinions on the areas we discuss. For any specific questions or topics you'd like to see on here, definitely feel free to connect with me on Instagram or shoot me a DM at Loving Your Own Soul. And always remember to do your own research too, or at least follow or listen to that inner voice we all have access to, for that inner voice will never steer you in the wrong direction. And if you're getting an inkling, it's okay to have differing opinions. Differing opinions are not a bad thing. But with that, let's dive into the plant-based way of life. First things first, let's remember that when we are talking about a plant-based lifestyle, it is different from being vegan. Similar, yes, but different. Mostly because plant-based is done for the intention of one's own health, consuming mostly whole, real foods from the earth, whereas vegan is done more for the intention of the collective and the animals, and sometimes, if not careful, vegans can possibly fall into just eating too many processed or alternative foods. But as with anything, balance is really key on both sides of the spectrum. And really, it's also the way we go about things as individuals are all different. So to generalize intentions is tough, but that's just kind of the common gist or difference between the two for anyone who is confused. I also did an episode on this a couple weeks back where I further break down the two, so definitely go check that out if you are interested. But I love the plant-based way of living. It is honestly so magical. It's really the introduction to self-love, self-awareness, and compassion for the planet too. And then it really opens you up spiritually. That's what I've really found. The plant-based way is really this whole opening on the spiritual journey that I didn't personally anticipate before going into it, but I've seen so many clients of mine also open up spiritually upon being able to really clean out their physical vessel. And yes, plant-based is a buzzword, 100%. And you could consider it a trend on the rise, but this one to me is really far less about being trendy and really just taking us back to where we originally came from as a human species. And if you are thinking right now, well, cavemen ate meat, so why shouldn't I? That is because cavemen didn't consume meat 3 times a day for 7 days a week. Their diets were primarily made up of nuts and seeds and vegetables, whatever they could gather from the earth, until their community made a killing. And then they would feast on whatever meat was available at that time, and then go back to whatever they could gather until the next killing was made. So just something to think about, especially just kind of look at how much animal product you are consuming. Do you have health concerns and things like that? And maybe there's some opportunity to just make a couple shifts in there. You don't have to go, all in, but maybe just dip your toe in the water and see how it feels. And to that point, our health really doesn't have to be as complicated as we've made it in the last century. Sure, food is different, and quite frankly, I believe that we are really in an epidemic as it pertains to food supply, quality of food, the overconsumption of processed foods, depletion of micronutrients, etc., etc., etc. So really, it's more important than ever to do what we can to support our bodies while living a radiant life and having fun along the way. Especially, fun and joy and less stress is just so crucial with disease on the rise. And I believe there really is no time like the present. And among, the many benefits at an individual level, this lifestyle, it also really serves the collective too, which is cool. It's just this ongoing ripple effect, I guess you could say. So in order to eat a plant-based diet, you are likely eating a pretty balanced combination of fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, nuts, beans, legumes, fats, and herbs. And plant-based is really actually quite fun as you get to come up with just so many fun twists on old comfort food favorites that are actually like healthy and beneficial versions of your old cheat meals, such as a plant-based mac and cheese, which is totally dairy-free and sugar-free and sometimes even gluten-free and salt-free and oil-free too. And let's be honest, who doesn't love mac and cheese, right? It's like that old school American comfort food, but a plant-based mac and cheese, there's no harm to you, which is so cool. It really serves you on so many different levels. So it's a food that we've, grown up eating and loving, but that's not necessarily serving our body. But to make it with a plant-based twist, then you can eat this favorite that's equally serving your body and has your best interest in mind. So it's just amazing. It really removes the restrictiveness of food. But also, too, plant-based diets, they come with a host of health benefits that are pretty much endless. Whether it is clearer skin, maintaining a healthy or natural weight for your body, improved digestion, cholesterol, reduced risk of some cancers, improved blood pressure, improved gut health, increased energy, reduced inflammation. I think I might have said that one already. Increased mindfulness. And then you also reduce your carbon footprint too. So it's so cool. And, I mentioned inflammation, but upon removing animal products from your lifestyle, you will dramatically reduce the amount of inflammation throughout your entire body, as long as you aren't replacing anything with processed or man-made replacements. Or if you are, try to only use the 80-20 rule and just replace maybe about 20%, but then make sure you're really sticking to mostly whole foods from the earth. But basically, long story short, the more you clear out and clean up your human body, the clearer you will really become in all aspects of life. And like I said before, the plant-based lifestyle, it really just looks at eating your full supply of whole foods from the earth as unprocessed as possible. It's not complicated. And at the same time, you really focus on nourishing and listening to your body and really paying attention and monitoring as to how your body feels. And you just become so in tune with your body. You are really your best advocate then as you start listening and paying attention to when a food or certain combination doesn't feel good. So for anyone who is fascinated by the intuitive eating or mindful eating approach, I found that plant-based is really the gateway to that, in that it helps you really start listening and understanding. But in attempting to eat plant-based, I know it can feel a little overwhelming when it's all whole, real foods from the earth, and we live in a world of boxes and bags and all the things. So there's really kind of 4 categories, so to say, that I like to break it down into that I will chat with you about. So really making sure that you're getting your healthy fats, healthy carbohydrates, plant-based proteins, and fruit. First and foremost, anything you've heard about eating low fat, literally throw it out the window as long as you're eating healthy fats. Our bodies actually run really well off of fats as long as it's the right amounts and types of fat. So some of us, yes, will need less, and some of us need more. We're all bio-individual, but fats are really one of the best foods for your health and hormones and skin and energy. So do not fear them. Just make sure they are the right type of fat, which would be the best types really are avocados, olives, high quality oils, and I use this one loosely, but super, super high quality. But again, that's kind of in more of a moderation. And when I say high quality oils, that would be more like a coconut or a flaxseed oil, an olive oil, but you really have to be careful with olive oil. But then other fats would be tahini is amazing, coconut, and then fat from nuts. These are all good fats, kind of like the friendly fats, so to say. But for anyone who's not familiar, fat really provides a slow burn of energy throughout the day, and it actually allows us to feel satisfied and feel fuller longer as they take a longer amount of time to digest within the body, which is kind of cool. They also will aid in cellular and hormonal health and actually aid in absorption. Because vitamins are actually fat soluble, meaning they require you to eat a source of fat to help the body absorb them best. And with a proper working digestive system, good healthy fats can actually contribute to your skin health, as the essential fatty acids within the fat sources you eat really help the body hold on to more moisture, thus providing the smoothing and plumping effect to your skin that pretty much most of us all strive for. Now, as I mentioned, fats take a longer time to digest within the body, providing that slow release of energy. Whereas on the other hand, we have carbs, which carbs are faster to digest, providing a quick energy, and are another food to not have fear over. So all the low carb diets, throw those out the window too. Forget about eating low carb. This is your permission to start eating all the carbs you want, especially if you are a female. Eat your carbs. Carbs should be your new best friend. And when I say carbs in the shape of whole, real foods, not the processed chips, the white bread, the processed cereals, all that stuff. You want your carbohydrates to come from Mother Earth. So potatoes, yes, potatoes are phenomenal for you. Eat your potatoes. Do not be scared of them. Whole grains, quinoa, rice pasta actually is really good. Beans, rice cakes, whole fruits, vegetables, seed crackers, grain crackers, oatmeal, quality sourdough bread. And then of course, for anyone who is gluten-free, such as myself, just really remember to make sure that wheat, barley, and rye are not part of your group of carb friends, because they're not going to do your body any good. Or for anyone who is struggling with high levels of inflammation, removing gluten or dairy from your diet, highly recommend. But carbs they'll keep you energized, as they provide that immediate energy that we spoke of, and they also fuel the brain. They are rich in B vitamins, which are essential for your body to function, and they really have a direct effect on our energy levels. So they are also great for your digestion, as they are rich in fiber, which keeps your bowels normal, which helps the extra toxins and toxicity get out of our bodies. And carbs, actually to that point, will assist in eliminating toxins from the body and pulling those out, and can even aid in hormone imbalance. Some people too have found carbs to be mood boosting and support muscle function, and I think we might know this already, but they're just great sources of micronutrients. So the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, the list just goes on and on and on. So eat your carbs. Do not be scared of them. Now, next up is protein. Dun, dun, dun. We are all so fearful that we're not getting enough protein, but if you are worried about getting enough protein, ask yourself, where did you first hear that you need to be so worried about protein? Where did this information come from? Where did these dialogues start? And are they actual real dialogues that you need to worry about? So What is super cool with the plant-based lifestyle, and this is why a lot of athletes in particular are turning this way, is that you actually get the right amount and the right type of protein. So the average omnivore in the US gets more than 1.5 times the optimal amount of protein, most of it coming from animal sources. And contrary to popular belief, it's been found that this excess protein does not actually make us stronger or leaner. Excess protein is stored as fat, which then gets turned into waste and actually sticks to our insides, with animal protein really turning out to be a major cause of weight gain and diabetes, inflammation, disease, and various cancers. Meanwhile, the protein found in whole plant foods really protects us from many chronic diseases. There's really no need to track your protein intake or use protein supplements with a plant-based diet, as long as you are meeting your daily calorie or intake needs. You will get plenty of protein, I promise. So black beans, so much protein. 1 cup of black beans contains 15 grams of protein, which is more than a piece of chicken. And other plants that are high in protein include broccoli, green peas. Pea protein is a great alternative, hemp seed, lentils, chickpeas, and spinach. So much protein in all these wonderful plant foods. But the key here is to always ensure that you're getting enough food. When you go plant-based, you do not count calories. Literally, like breath of fresh air, say goodbye to calorie counting. You can now live a free and happy life. If you eat and after a bit you still feel hungry, eat more, listen to your body. The plant-based lifestyle is not about restricting, and that is honestly one of the things that makes it the most enjoyable. It's about feeding your body the foods he or she naturally craves, and in return, your body just naturally responds. And one of my most favorite benefits that really contributes to that ripple effect we spoke of earlier is that you also make a huge impact on the health of our planet and its inhabitants, such as you and I, by consuming a diet that is rich in whole plant-based foods. You will actually reduce your carbon footprint by going plant-based, and you also just become more in tune with nature and the beauty of our earth. It's like this whole new just relationship starts. It's really beautiful. And if you are not familiar, most animals that are raised for food are not being raised in humane environments and are suffering so much up until the day they are killed for our quote-unquote benefit, but really not our benefit at all. And what is so sad though, on top of their suffering though, we then are also consuming those negative energies. So think about energy in, energy out. What if our heightened levels of anxiety and depression and mental illness that so many of us struggle with today was partially from the anxiety and fear-ridden animal products that we are consuming? So energy in, energy out. If an animal is in a fear state before being killed, we are then consuming that fear state plus all the hormones and who knows what else that animal was filled with. Now, to that point though, we are all unique individuals in our own selves. So while some may benefit from long-term or lifelong reduction in meat or animal products, others may only be able to sustain it for a short-term reduction in order to kick their body back into working order, reduce disease, and then slowly incorporate certain meats back because they actually need it. Everyone's individual. You really just have to listen to your own body. And if you don't think you can go all in but are interested, the top 2 animal products that I would remove immediately and try to never eat again would be pork and chicken. I mean, it's just, I don't really want to get into it because it grosses me out so much, but if you do anything today, stop eating pork and chicken in your body and your whole life will thank you. And, we really need to honor too our unique traits and bodies and just ourselves as individuals. So take everything in with an open curiosity here and then just elect to do with it as you please. And, why not try something? And if you're also getting intuitive hits or something resonates, those are signs that something is sticking with you for a reason, and it might be an area that you want to explore. But the last area of kind of the four 4 brackets of eating plant-based is fruit. Eat your fruit. Just like our fear of fat and carbs and getting enough protein, most of us also carry this fear that fruit is bad and fruit has too much sugar. And this is one of my favorite topics because just eating fruit and all of fruit's naturalness has always felt so aligned to me, but it was something I kept myself from doing. And once I finally understood that, yes, it's okay to eat a whole banana or bowl of pineapple, my health completely turned around for the better. And at the same time, I have just never felt more rejuvenated and just soul opened and connected to myself and those around me. And this subject, if you're not familiar with it, it's really pretty simple. So we've been conditioned, and it's simple when we actually think about it and break it down. So we've been conditioned over time to believe that fruit has too much sugar for us, right? We should only have a couple strawberries or 1 piece of watermelon because otherwise that would be way too much fruit or way too much sugar for us. However, we fail to even think twice about the amount of sugar in our Coke, our glass of wine or beer, the amount of sugar in our hamburger bun, ketchup, relish, and the amount of sugar in a birthday cake, or the amount of sugar in the cinnamon bun that you're eating for breakfast. But at the same time, make sure you only take a small handful of blueberries because that would be too much sugar. See, it's so backwards. So fruit equals natural sugar. You can eat as much as you want and eliminate all other sugars from your life. And when we talk about natural sugar, that also includes a really, really pure maple syrup, raw organic honey or manuka honey, cacao, a little bit of monk fruit, coconut. There's a lot of fun ways to still eat quote unquote sugar and still have baked goods and all the delicious things that come with this modern world. It's just with a twist. So just remember, plant sugar or natural sugar. And what's really cool is the natural sugar from fruit is actually what our bodies crave and need to sustain, including for our brains. So if anyone has ever tried to make their way through Whole30, they probably know how grueling it is. And the number one reason is because they barely let you have any sugar. So your body becomes so depleted because she's not getting one of the main elements of nature that she naturally craves and needs to sustain. And that's why a lot of people, unfortunately, fall off the Whole30 wagon and feel this need to binge out immediately after because they were so restricted. Another thing too, fruit also digests the fastest of anything we eat. So I always recommend eating fruit first. Fruit first thing in the morning, fruit on an empty stomach as a snack, fruit before your meal, not after or with your meal. Just make sure you're always eating fruit before you're putting other things into your body because fruit will digest so quickly. It will then basically just kind of sit on top of the rest of the food in your stomach, just rotting and waiting for the rest of the food to digest, which then you'll get an upset stomach, digestive problems, and the sugar in that fruit will also not be digested properly. It just kind of rots up there. So not good. But yes, eat more fruit and less of the processed stuff or no processed stuff at all. But that is really all that plant-based eating is. It's really not that complicated. It's just eating less of the processed and more of the whole natural foods that come from the earth. And if you give it a try, I encourage you to let it be fun. Experiment, try out different combinations. And if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram. I would love to chat with you further on this. And to be perfectly honest, if I were to look into a crystal ball right now, I would tell you that the plant-based lifestyle is the way of the future, 1000%. So you might as well get on it now and be ahead of it. But as much as it's the way of the future, it is also bringing us back to where we originally came from. Over the last several decades of, our modern era, we've just been so inundated with the fad diets and so much speculation around food and what's healthy or not healthy, changing of technologies and innovations, and all these things with, really the intention, I like to believe, of trying to find out what works and what is most sustainable. And we are so close. But to me, we've really already found it. We just have to go back to our roots and to what Mother Nature has provided us with, and really just a more simplified way of life, which feels so refreshing in how complicated our world has been. And the sooner we can really turn this way, we will not only feel happier and healthier as individuals, but we will have that ripple effect on those of us near and far in our collective society. And it's just so cool. We all want change, and real change truly starts from the inside out. And when we eat those whole foods that come from the earth, we not only empower our bodies and build a vessel of total optimal health, but we clear space so that we can be more conscious in our daily lives, our relationships, and overall just cultivate the mindset of the person that we aspire most to be. The journey is just really so beautiful as this lifestyle opens us up to endless possibilities, in my opinion, and it's so much fun. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for continuing the journey. I hope you learned something new, and I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to chatting with you again soon.